The Sonics have been out of Seattle since July 2nd, 2008, and us Sonics fans have gone through a lot.
We made it. Congratulations. The NBA will be in Oklahoma City next season, playing their games.
Durant fittingly comes away with the rebound, and that will do it.
This is a great day in the city of Sacramento. A really, really good day in the city of Sacramento.
Today I am going to vote no on this vacation.
Despite all those painful moments as Sonics fans, we did get Key Arena remodeled into Climate Pledge Arena under the leadership of stadium expert Tim Lewicki. Since then, Climate Pledge Arena attracted the NHL to arrive to Seattle, where the Seattle Kraken play, and it has so far experienced great success in the league, even with its limited success on a team play standpoint. The remodel of the stadium even brought attention to current NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, who stated that he was interested in exploring expansion, and speculation seemed to be that the ability for expansion to happen was contingent on a new CBA and a new TV deal that were recently completed. Since all those deals have been completed, questions arose on whether expansion could happen, and this is what Adam Silver stated on the question of expansion as of March 2025.
The legacy of the Sonics is still very strong, and it's a fantastic basketball market, is that we are very focused on it. The fact I think that I'm not being more sort of forthcoming publicly doesn't mean we're not studying it very intensively. We don't take those fans for granted. We're thankful that the interest has remained over all these years, and so I would just say the fact that we're not ready to make any public announcements with a specific timeline doesn't mean we don't care a lot about those fans, and we aren't very focused on the potential for the NBA to return to Seattle.
That statement unfortunately was a disappointment, as us Sonics fans have been waiting for a new NBA team since the Sonics left for Oklahoma City. With a new stadium in Seattle, a new CBA for the NBA, and a TV deal completed, what more can Seattle really do to get an NBA team? However, there was another recent statement by Adam Silver on the Pat McAfee Show as of April 17th. Now before I show this clip, a word from our sponsor SeatGeek. With the NBA playoffs underway, you are probably planning to go to an NBA playoff game and cheer for your NBA team or player. But knowing that playoff tickets can be pricey, don't worry, I've got you covered. If you use my promo code Rooftop Sports, you'll get $20 off the purchase and enjoy the NBA playoffs.
In terms of expansion, we try not to look at it every year just because we don't want to be too much of a distraction. What I've been saying for the last several years, we knew we needed to get a new collective bargaining agreement done. We did. We needed a new media deal to get done, and Pat referenced that before. We did that. We've locked in our television rights for 11 years. And part of the reason you want to know what your television deal is because you now have new partners. You're going from dividing up the money in terms of 30 teams and those players to, let's say, if we expanded by 2 teams to 32. So you want to know what those economics are. So now that those things are done, we're just beginning a process so internally at the league of exploring the opportunity to expand. I will say sometimes on the outside, it looks like a no-brainer because it seems like you're printing money to expand. But again, as I said, you're really selling equity in the league. You have 30 teams that own the league, and now you're saying we're going to have 32 teams that own the league. So you're diluting the economic interest of all the 30 teams, and you're also potentially diluting the talent because, as with 450 players plus some in the NBA, but roughly 450 players, there's even among those the greatest in the world, there's only so many difference makers. And then how are those players going to be distributed around the league? That's a lot of what we spend time on in collective bargaining agreement, is the right distribution of players. And so we're looking hard at it. We're sort of modeling it, for lack of better terms, in the league office. Look, there's no doubt there's been interest in Las Vegas. Seattle, I've been very public about it, that it was a market that was fantastic for the league, that we left at the time for understandable reasons, but there's no doubt that there continues to be enormous passion in that market for the NBA. So we're looking at those markets and others. I think as we get into the summer, we'll get into a more formal process of how we go about doing it. I don't want to say it's a foregone conclusion that we're going to expand, but I also think over time, organizations tend to grow. And I look at the success of those markets for other, major league teams now. And, so it's easy to just present a scenario where you can see it working successfully for the league. But I don't want to jump the gun here. We have the 30 existing teams who all need to weigh in on this process, and also at some point need to have direct conversations with the people who are interested in those teams. It's premature to do that right now. That's what we've been contacted by groups who are saying we have interest in potentially being part of expansion, not just in those cities but others. And we've sort of said we're not quite ready yet, but again, we will go through a very methodical approach to it and do it very cautiously, but we'll continue to look at it.
Now, those statements didn't seem to be much different, as it's typical that there are concerns of expansion relating to economics and talent dilution. But what stuck out the most was not only did Adam Silver say that Seattle was in the mix for a possible expansion, but he even mentioned that other markets are being explored, which have known to be Mexico and Europe. With that, a legitimate ownership better step up, or else an opportunity would be lost. And nothing is more awkward when an NBA expansion is happening, and yet Seattle doesn't get a team. Yeah, that would be way too Seattle, wouldn't it? However, last year, I had a chat with Brian Robinson on possible NBA ownerships, and here's what he said. And I'll even include the link for the full video in the description of this video.
When we're looking at expansion to Seattle, I know there's been talks of the Kraken owners also being the owners of a potential Sonics team. Is that what you expect, or do you see any other potential ownership groups coming in?
I think that there might be multiple bidders, and we don't know, and we'll see when they come out. We could see our friends in Soto reemerge. There haven't really been any rumblings of that recently. Samantha Holloway, who's the majority owner of the Kraken, is a basketball person. She's excited about this. She's appeared on our Iconic Sonics podcast and stated her intentions. And I know that group will make an offer, is committed to bringing the Sonics home. And I think it's logical to view them as the favorites.
It's good to know that there are ownership possibilities for Seattle, but nonetheless, someone for the Seattle ownership better be ready in order to be able to secure expansion, unlike everyone else. Well, that is what I got for now. Thanks for watching, and if you miss the Sonics like I do, I have some Sonics related content that you can check out.